Who would have thought being called ordinary could be the beginning of the end? My wife once told me I was so painfully predictable, she was convinced even my heartbeat kept time. She laughed when she said it, then added that being right-handed was just another sign of how unremarkable I was. I thought it was a joke. I thought we were fine. I didn't know then that she'd already started falling for someone else, someone left-handed. The sun hits the kitchen window just right, a warm, syrupy glow that makes the granite countertops look like honey. My wife, Claire, is at the stove, flipping pancakes with that absent grace she's perfected over the years. The radio hums softly in the background, our golden retriever dozes under the table, and the kids are still upstairs, two little hurricanes yet to wake. From the outside, it looks perfect. The kind of morning they put in commercials, steam rising from mugs, sunlight catching her hair, the smell of butter and sugar mingling with coffee. If someone peeked through our window, they'd see a man with a decent job, a loving wife, 2 kids, a dog, the suburban ideal. But when I look at her, something's off. It's in the way she moves. Not angry. Not sad. Just detached. "Morning," I say, kissing her shoulder as I pass. Her skin smells like vanilla lotion, the same kind she's used since college. "Morning," she replies, soft but automatic, like a line rehearsed too many times. I pour coffee, black, the way I always have it. I take the first sip and realize I can't remember the last time she smiled at me. Not the polite, dinner party smile, the real one. The one that used to make her eyes wrinkle at the corners. It used to be easy between us. I'd come home from work, she'd meet me at the door, barefoot, hair tied up, wine already poured. We'd talk for hours, about nothing, about everything. She'd tell me about a client's living room or how she wanted to change the curtains, and I'd pretend to care, just to keep hearing her voice. Now the house is quieter. She still talks, but it's filtered through routine. Dinner's in the oven. I have a client meeting at 6. "Can you pick up the kids tomorrow?" The words land like pebbles on water, tiny ripples that disappear before they reach me. Maybe this is what happens after years of marriage. Maybe love settles, like dust. You don't notice it until you try to breathe. The kids crash down the stairs, breaking the silence. Ben, 6, wearing his dinosaur pajamas. Sophie, 4, carrying her stuffed rabbit by the ear. They both shout, "Dad!" And for a second I feel the weight in my chest lift. "Breakfast is ready," Claire says. Her tone is light but clipped, the kind she uses when she's already halfway somewhere else. We eat together, and it's fine. Not warm, not cold. Just fine. Afterward, I grab my briefcase. Another business trip. Another week of hotel beds and airport coffee. She doesn't seem to mind. Sometimes I think she prefers it when I'm gone, like it gives her space to breathe. "Be back Friday," I tell her. She nods. "Drive safe." That's it. No kiss, no touch, no pause at the door. Just those 2 words. I almost say something, a small plea maybe, but the look on her face stops me. It's not anger, not sadness. It's indifference. Driving out of the cul-de-sac, I glance in the rearview mirror. She's standing on the porch, arms folded, watching me leave. There was a time she'd wave until my car turned the corner. Now she just waits for the door to close. The radio plays some upbeat song, but it barely reaches me. I start thinking, maybe I've become invisible. The dependable man, the provider, the one who keeps everything running so she can live comfortably. I do it without complaint, but lately, I wonder if that's the problem. Maybe comfort kills passion faster than conflict ever could. Work keeps me busy. Long hours, spreadsheets, site visits. It's easy to lose myself in precision. Numbers don't lie, unlike people. By the time I get back home Friday night, the house is dark except for the soft glow from the living room. She's on the couch, laptop open, wearing one of those loose sweaters that always slides off her shoulder just enough to show skin. She looks beautiful, but distant, like a photograph taken by someone else. "Hey," I say quietly. "Hey." Her eyes stay on the screen. I sit beside her. The couch dips slightly. Her scent fills the space, floral, warm, familiar. My hand itches to touch her thigh, but I don't. Feels wrong somehow. Like I'd be reaching for a memory instead of a woman. What are you working on? Client project. Color palettes for a nursery. Another late night? Probably. Silence stretches. I try to think of something, anything, to bridge it. You should rest. You've been. I'm fine, she interrupts. The tone isn't sharp, just final. I nod and lean back. The TV flickers with some reality show neither of us watches. After a while, she closes the laptop. I'm going to bed. I nod again. I'll be up soon. But I don't follow her. I stay on the couch, staring at the blank TV screen, listening to the sound of her footsteps upstairs. The bed creaks faintly when she lies down. A few minutes later, I go up too. She's already under the covers, facing the wall. I strip quietly, slip beside her, and stare at the ceiling. The room smells like lavender and something else, something faint, almost metallic. Good night, I whisper. No answer. The distance between us feels like a canyon. I could reach out, touch her shoulder, and maybe everything would fall back into place. But I don't. I just lie there, pretending to sleep, while her slow, even breathing fills the room. And somewhere between one heartbeat and the next, a thought comes to me, simple, terrifying. When did I stop feeling at home in my own marriage? I notice it first where silence used to be kind. At breakfast, the clink of Claire's spoon keeps time with my breathing. You always stir like that, she says, eyes on her phone. Aggressively. I laugh and kiss her hair. She shifts away a fraction. Little things. Why do you walk like that? As we circle each other in the kitchen. Do you have to chew so loudly? A sideways look. God, you even breathe in rhythm. She says it like inventory. I tell myself people have phases. Work is a grind, late nights at the plant with compressors buzzing. By the time I get home I want contact, the easy fit of us. She meets me with precision. Shoes in the mudroom. Don't wake the kids. There's lasagna in the fridge. Instructions where warmth should be. After bedtime she spreads fabric swatches on the table. Claire can make a room purr. I remember her first apartment, the word sex falling between us and caught with both hands. Now, when I approach, her shoulder tightens. Client wants something authentically coastal, she says. Which means white and expensive. Clean lines, she answers, not looking up. Another night she studies my shirt. Did you spill coffee? The stain is a comma. I dab it. It's nothing. She presses her lips. That's the problem. I run the errands, the gas, the sprinklers, the dog's eardrops. Always have. But now each finished task feels like a receipt I lay between us. She notices only when something slips. I start muting my edges. I step lighter on the stairs, time exhales to the kettle. I kiss her less because it feels like asking. In bed we keep to territories like neighbors who share a fence but not a gate. One Tuesday she comes to bed with damp hair, eucalyptus in the air. I miss you, I say. I'm right here. That isn't what I mean. Then I don't know what you mean. I find her hand under the sheet. She lets me take it. For a heartbeat something opens. Her breath warms my mouth. I inch closer. Not tonight, she whispers, withdrawing. It's gentle, the way a stranger refuses a dance. I lie awake to the shape of her in the dark. The curve of hip, the warm place where her thigh meets the mattress. Want prowls anyway? I think about the sex we used to have, bright, hungry, and how wanting now feels like trespass. Morning is sharp. She closes the dishwasher a little hard. Could you not leave your mug in the sink? I rinsed it. But it was in the sink. I'll make it right-handed next time, I say, regretting it as it leaves my mouth. Driving to work, I rehearse better versions of myself. Quieter, wittier, a man who buys flowers without occasion. At a stoplight I catch my reflection, jaw clenched, tie wrong, someone who wants too much. The cuts get smaller, closer. She rehangs frames I level. She refolds towels I stack. At dinner she mentions a client whose husband actually listens, then looks at me. Isn't that amazing? I nod like a good audience. With the kids she is easy. She ties laces, plays monster. Watching her with them hurts and heals me. The light is still on somewhere. I'm the hallway that no longer leads there. In the garage one night I rest my hands on the cool hood and breathe oil and dust. A calendar says I travel again in 2 weeks. I study the squares like a map with no alternate route. I try to surprise her. The Italian place with red-checked cloths, a babysitter, a dress I buy because I can imagine it falling to the floor. She fingers the fabric. Red? That's bold. We go anyway. Wine loosens us. Our knees touch under the table. A spark jumps. I tell a story about a plant shutdown we fixed. She smiles. Her ankle hooks mine. Heat returns. In the driveway she tilts her face up. I kiss her, careful, then deeper when she opens. For a few seconds we are ourselves again. Her hands slide under my jacket, bunch my shirt at the spine. My body moves toward hers like iron to a magnet. She pulls back an inch. We should go inside, she says, and should folds the moment shut. In the kitchen the house smells of lemon cleaner. The monitor shows 2 sleeping shapes. Claire sets 2 glasses on the rack. I'm exhausted, she says. I step behind her, palms at her hips, mouth to the warm place beneath her ear. Her shoulders rise, then settle. She turns. Our mouths hover, the old flame close enough to singe. Don't, she whispers. It's almost tender, which lands harder. She touches my chest to mark the line and moves down the hall. After she disappears, I stand in the lemon-bright kitchen listening to the house settle. I rinse my glass, align it on the rack, police my own breathing. The cuts are small, I tell myself. Small cuts heal. But I've done enough maintenance to know. Tiny leaks rot the beams you never see. The weak press is on. Forks go prongs up. You drove past the exit. Did you have to tell that story twice? I try to widen my fuse. Sometimes she lets me lead a step. More often she goes still, and I feel like a polite intruder in a house with my name on the mortgage. After the kids are down, she sits on the rug, editing photos. Laptop light paints her face cool silver. I watch her fingers and remember crescents pressed into my shoulder, her laugh breaking into a gasp. Claire, I say. She glances up. Yeah. I keep trying to get this right. Her eyes search my face like I'm a schematic. Maybe that's the problem, she says. You're always trying to be right. I'm trying to be us. She looks back at the screen. I don't know what that is lately. I nod. Somewhere water ticks through pipes. I tell myself bright parts dim before they warm. If I give this space, the air will change. It doesn't. The air sharpens. And for the first time, quietly, like speaking to a skittish animal, I wonder if the reason she avoids my touch is not boredom, but because it belongs to someone else. It starts with a glass of wine, 2 half-finished plates, and a silence that feels like a third person sitting at the table with us. The kids are in bed, the dog's asleep, and the house hums faintly, refrigerator, distant traffic, the kind of white noise that fills in for affection when it's gone missing. Claire sets her fork down, the sound small but sharp. Do you ever realize how painfully average you are? At first, I think I misheard. I look up, waiting for the smile that usually follows when she's joking. It doesn't come. What does that even mean? I ask. She leans back, her wine glass between her fingers. You're right-handed. I blink. Anne? Just that. You're right-handed. Like everyone else. Even in that, you're not different. I laugh, but it's nervous. So what? You want me to switch hands? I want you to be something. Her voice rises a little, enough to cut through the quiet. Anything other than this predictable, comfortable template of a man. The word template lands like an insult and a diagnosis at once. I set my fork down. Claire, I go to work. I take care of this house. I love you and the kids. Since when is that a crime? She doesn't answer. She looks past me at the window, where her reflection stares back. I follow her gaze. The woman in the glass looks tired, maybe bored. But the faint smile at the corner of her mouth isn't exhaustion. It's disdain. Something twists inside me. Where's this coming from? I ask quietly. She shrugs. Nowhere. Everywhere. Are you unhappy? Unhappy? She repeats the word like she's testing how it tastes. No. Not unhappy. just uninspired. It's the kind of line an actress delivers before the audience knows the affair has already begun. She gets up, gathers the plates. I reach out to touch her wrist. "Claire." She stops, looks down at my hand as if it's something foreign that's wandered too close. "Don't." "Don't what?" "Touch me when you're trying to win an argument." "I wasn't trying to." "You always are." She jerks her hand away. The plates clatter into the sink. "You always think there's a fix. Some neat little engineer's solution to everything." The way she says engineer sounds like a curse. I stand slowly, unsure what to say. There are words in my throat, apologies, explanations, anger, but none of them make it past the weight sitting on my chest. She turns, crossing her arms. Her sweater slips off one shoulder, and for a moment, my body betrays me, remembering her warmth, the sound she used to make when I kissed that spot below her collarbone. It's absurd, feeling desire in the middle of humiliation. But that's marriage, isn't it? Love and resentment sharing the same bed. I try again, softer. "Claire, if something's wrong, tell me. Don't talk in riddles." Her lips press together. Then, with a bitter laugh, she says, "That's exactly it. You always need everything explained. You can't feel something without putting a label on it." I rub my temples. "You're mad because I'm logical?" "I'm mad because you're safe," she snaps. "Because you never make me feel anything anymore." For a heartbeat, we just stare at each other, her chest rising fast, my pulse in my ears. I want to say something that will pull her back, something raw and real, but the words come out wrong. "You think being unpredictable is love?" "I think being alive is," she fires back. She turns to leave, but I step in her way. I don't touch her, just stand close enough to smell the faint trace of her perfume, something new, sharper than before. "Who are you trying to impress?" I ask. Her eyes flick up, surprised for just a second, then narrow. "That's the difference between us," she whispers. "You think everything's about someone else. Maybe it's just about me." Then she brushes past and heads upstairs, her footsteps slow but deliberate. I stay behind, surrounded by the smell of wine and soap and something burning faintly, the candle she forgot to blow out. I snuff it and stare at the curling smoke, thinking how easy it is to mistake the fading scent of fire for warmth. Upstairs, the water runs. She's showering, humming faintly, a melody I don't recognize. I sit on the couch, listening. It sounds almost carefree, almost like she's somewhere else. When she finally comes down, hair damp, wearing one of my old t-shirts, I can't help it, I reach for her. She freezes, eyes wide, as if the gesture itself is offensive. "Don't," she says again. But this time it's not anger. It's something quieter. Pity maybe. "I miss you," I whisper. "You miss the idea of me," she replies. "Not me." That one hits deep. She goes to bed without another word. I stay up for hours, staring at the ceiling, the echo of her voice circling my thoughts. Painfully average. At some point, I pour another drink and sit by the window. Outside, the streetlights blur against the dark. The swing set in the yard sways gently, though there's no wind. I wonder if that's what we've become, movement without reason. When I finally go to bed, she's asleep, turned away. Her hair spills across the pillow, the faintest curve of her back visible under the sheet. I want to touch her, pull her close, remind her that she used to love me like gravity. Instead, I lie still. And in that stillness, I realize something has cracked quietly inside me, not loud, not dramatic, just a small, irreversible sound. It's not the words that broke me. It's the way she said them, as if being myself was a kind of sin. The space between us hardens by degrees. I notice it before sunrise. The kettle breathes, the house settles, and Claire's footsteps are measured like an old clock that can't be wound past caution. She doesn't say goodnight. She says, "I'm turning in," as if rest were a room at the end of a hallway I'm not invited into. I try to adapt. Engineers do. I change variables and wait. I wake earlier, pack the kids' lunches, make her tea the way she likes it, steeped till auburn, honey on a silver spoon. She thanks me in a voice that never lands. Then she vanishes into email or swatches or errands that do not require witnesses. At work, compressors sing their metallic hymn. The manager asks how home is and I give him numbers. 2 healthy kids, steady schedules, a dog who obeys. He nods. I carry that simplicity back to the car like a souvenir from a place with no weather. Weeks pass. In bed we draw to our edges like magnets flipped the wrong way. Sometimes she reads by phone light while I map hairline cracks in the ceiling. When her breathing steadies, one turns in me like a key. I remember the slow heat of us, how sex used to start with an accidental brush, the back of her knee against my thigh, a laugh that unraveled into a gasp. Now I respect the distance the way one respects a fence with a sign. Do not enter. Can't you ever surprise me? She asks one night without looking up. How? That's the point. If I tell you, it isn't a surprise. I buy peonies the next day, an armful so heavy they seem indecent. She studies them as if I've confessed something. They'll shed everywhere, she says, hunting a better vase while petals fall like pink snow. Small cuts organize into a method. Why sort the cutlery that way? You didn't rinse the soap. The kids can tell when you pretend to laugh. I try to go soft around each point, water around knives, and find I'm thinning where I used to feel dense. Sometimes the old warmth sparks. In the hallway she bends to tie Sophie's shoes, the hem lifts, and the back of her knees undoes me. In the pantry we reach for the same jar of olives and her wrist brushes mine. Her breath catches, the air tilts. I lean, almost without choosing. She steps away with a smile that closes like a door. Don't start, she says lightly, and the lightness is crueler than a slap. I keep my hands in my pockets so they don't find trouble. We talk logistics, pickups, drop-offs, what to thaw. Sticky notes pass like peace treaties. We are efficient, and in that efficiency we disappear. On a late Friday after bedtime, I pour 2 whiskeys and set one by her elbow. She doesn't drink it. I do. Sunday, after church, Mark from next door waves over the hedge. His grin is harmless, the exact shape of every grin I have trusted. He compliments Claire's dress, tells me oil made his car run cooler. Claire laughs at something he says. Her mouth opens the way it used to with me. It shuts when she sees my jaw. That night she folds the guest blanket in half between us like a river we cannot cross. Temporary, she says, as if we're renovating. I say nothing because the renovation is in her. Why do you always do things the same way? She asks when I set my keys in the bowl. So I can find them. Her eyes flicker with the smallest contempt. Exactly. I attempt unpredictability. I come home at noon and take her to lunch without warning. I drive the long way, my hand on her knee at every red light. Gooseflesh rises under my palm. For a breath I think we're saved. On the patio her phone lights with a text she hides before the screen fully blooms. I pretend not to see the second notification, the same unknown name. The food is good. We are not. Cold isn't the thermostat, it's the way sound travels. A fork makes a bright, lonely note. The dog's nails tick in the hall. Pipes pop like knuckles. When she closes a door, the latch reports the distance between us. I wear a sweatshirt to bed in July. In late August, a storm sits on the house. The kids invade our bed at the first thunder. We tangle into a warm, ridiculous pile. Claire is pressed to my side by the bodies we made. During one long rumble her forehead rests against my mouth and the taste of her skin tips me dizzy. I kiss the faintest line into her hair. Hope rises. When the storm wanders off and the children return to their rooms, the bed still holds our shapes. I edge closer, braver than I've been in months. Claire, I say and lay my hand slow at her waist. She inhales and keeps it. Don't, she says, not angry, not pleading. A weather report, conditions unchanged. I take my hand back. It feels obscene to leave heat where I'm not wanted. She turns to her side. I count the ways a ceiling can be blank. Later, in the dark, you always do things the same way, she says. Even when you touch me. How should I touch you? I ask, gentler than I feel. I don't know, she whispers. That's the problem. I am a man who solves problems. I can't fix a person who won't stay in the frame long enough to be seen. I can't fix the way my hand has become a habit in a body that no longer wants habits. A truth I don't speak aloud forms anyway. Someone warm to others makes you cold. Heat goes where it is wanted. I am the room to keep the rest of the house comfortable. On the first school morning of September, Sophie asks why Mom doesn't kiss me goodbye anymore. Claire drops her hair tie. It snaps like a gunshot against the sink. We're in a busy season, she tells the mirror. Daddy's fine. I say I am. I'm not. In the driveway, a gust lifts the last peony petals from the steps. They spin like confetti. I go to work. I come home. And in that clear, precise cold, something inside me calibrates. She isn't distant because she's bored. Her pulse is keeping time somewhere else. The road hums under the tires like a low promise. I tell myself this trip is a break. 3 days of air between us, a business excuse to breathe somewhere she isn't. The dashboard clock blinks 6:42 a.m. I roll past fields rinsed in mist, coffee in the cup holder cooling slower than my resolve. I call home once from the hotel. Sophie answers, sings half a song, hands the phone to Claire. Everything okay? I ask. Fine. Busy. You? Same. Good, she says and pauses. Drive safe. Then the line goes quiet. I stare at the phone after the call ends, watching the blank screen like it might fill with her face. Work is precise, manageable, numbers, torque, vibration readings. No hidden meanings. No tone to decode. At night, the bed feels foreign but honest. No cold have to avoid. On the way back, 3 days later, I stop at a roadside cafe, the kind with faded signs and the smell of sugar burned into the walls. I need caffeine, and a moment before home becomes a test again. The waitress pours black coffee, leaves me to it. That's when I see her. By the window. Laughing. It's the sound that hits first. I haven't heard that laugh in months. It's lighter, higher, careless. Her head tilts just slightly the way it used to when she wanted someone to know she was really listening. Across from her sits Mark. A neighbor. The man who borrows my drill, who helps with the fence, who stands in my yard with a beer and calls me buddy. He's leaning forward, elbows on the table, his hand dangerously close to hers. I go still. Claire's wearing a dress I haven't seen before, navy blue, a thin strap slipping from her shoulder. Her hair is up, a few strands loose around her neck. She looks radiant. Not tired, not distracted. Alive. The smile that blooms on her face, she's never worn it for me that way. I can't swallow the coffee. My throat is paper. My hands shake just enough that I put the cup down before it betrays me. Mark says something, she laughs again, touching his wrist. A casual, thoughtless gesture, but it's the intimacy that breaks me. The kind you don't fake, the kind that comes after 1,000 little permissions. I wait for my body to move, for anger to surface, for something. But what rises first is disbelief. Stupid, naive disbelief. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe they ran into each other. Maybe she's helping him pick a lamp for his den. Except her hand lingers too long. And his eyes are the eyes of a man who's already undressed her in thought. The waitress asks if I want a refill. I shake my head and leave a 10 on the table. Outside, the sun is too bright, the air too still. I walk to my car like I'm underwater. My reflection in the window looks wrong. Mouth slack, eyes dull. I get in and sit there watching them through the glass. She leans forward again, whispers something that makes him grin. Then she touches her hair, the old signal she used when she wanted to be noticed. Every move rehearsed, effortless. She's still the woman I fell in love with, only she's playing the part for someone else. When they leave, I fall. It isn't planned. I just can't not. They drive slow, her red scarf fluttering through the window. My pulse sinks with the turn of their tires. The road back into town is familiar, too familiar. My mind throws images at me, her hand on my chest the first time we made love, her whisper against my ear, the quiet way she used to say my name when she wanted me. The same hands, the same mouth, now a gift to another man. They stop once at a gas station. He buys her a soda. She laughs when the can fizzes over and wipes it from his shirt. He doesn't even flinch when she pats his chest. My fingers tighten around the steering wheel until the leather creaks. They get back in the car. I follow again. Then my chest drops, because I know the next turn. They're heading home. Our home. I kill the headlights and stay a few cars back. The neighborhood looks harmless as always. The manicured lawns, the trimmed hedges, the same swing set where our kids play. But every porch light feels like a spotlight on my failure. Mark's car slows, then pulls into my driveway. My hands go numb. Claire steps out first, glancing around like a thief who believes she's unseen. He follows, close behind. Their laughter fades as the door closes behind them. I park down the street, engine off. The world goes silent except for my breathing. I wait. 5 minutes. The house glows soft and yellow through the curtains. I know every inch of it, every creak, every shadow, and right now it feels like a stranger wearing my skin. I don't remember deciding to move. 1 second I'm in the car, the next I'm walking up the driveway, slow, deliberate. My hands are steady now, my mind clearer than it's been in months. Inside, faint music. Then laughter again. Hers. I open the door. The air smells like her perfume and wine. Their voices cut off. A chair scrapes. I take 1 step, then another, following the sound down the hallway to the bedroom. The door's half open. She's sitting on the bed, hand on his chest, lips inches from his. The look on her face isn't guilt, it's shock, the moment before the lie. It's not what it looks like, she blurts, already standing, already inventing a story. But I don't shout. Don't curse. I just stare at them. Then I say, calm as gravity, tell me, is he left-handed? Neither of them speaks. Mark's face drains of color. I walk to him, take his collar, and before he can react, throw him out the front door. He stumbles into the yard, hitting the grass hard. Claire's crying now, trembling, whispering, please, it wasn't. Pack your things, I say. Now. She opens her mouth to argue, but something in my tone makes her stop. Outside, the wind picks up. Curtains move. The house exhales. And in the middle of it all, I realize the truth. This was never about love or boredom or right hands. It was about being invisible long enough for someone else to see her. I don't remember the walk from the sidewalk to the door, only the slick of the knob and that bright, careless laughter leaking down the hall. The house smelled like her perfume and the Pinot we save for company. I suppose he qualified. The bedroom door hung ajar. Claire sat on the edge of our bed, her knees angled toward Mark, 1 hand on his chest. Their mouths were a breath apart, soft, sure, inevitable. She looked up and her face tried on innocence like a scarf. It's not what it looks like, she said. Mark stood, slow as guilt learning to walk. I should have been fire, but an old, cold calm rose in me. I looked at the hand on his chest, at her mouth, at the bed I paid for, and said, gently, tell me, is he left-handed? Silence. The vent hummed. A mower droned somewhere. Claire's fingers fluttered to her hair. Mark's lips twitched without finding words. I crossed the room, took his collar, and walked him backward. The cotton gave with a soft tear. The hallway stretched, then the threshold, then the porch. He spilled onto the lawn with a grunt and the dog barked. I didn't slam the door. Claire stood in the center of the room with her hands out, empty. Mascara rimmed her eyes. Please, she whispered. We didn't. You were about to. The fact steadied me. Pack your things. She flinched as if I'd shouted. The kids. At your sister's. You planned this? I hoped I wouldn't need to. I pointed at the closet. 30 minutes. She stared at the bed as if it might finish the story better. The blankets still held their crease. The pillow showed the faint oval of his head. Heat gathered behind my ribs, complicated as sex. Say something else, she said. Say you hate me. Say you'll fight for us. Just, don't give me an order. I don't hate you, I answered, which hurt less than lying. I hate the distance you fed until it had our names. And I won't compete in my own home. She moved because the physics of the moment moved her. The closet doors slid. Hangers scraped. A suitcase yawned. She folded jeans, a sweater with a thumb-sized hole, A silk slip I once eased off with my teeth. My body remembered what I didn't want it to, the shape of her shoulder blades, the dark at the base of her throat when want blooms. What happened to us? She asked without turning. You outsourced us, I said. To him or the idea of him. To a mirror that made you glow. He listens, she said. So did I said. You started whispering in a language that only heard itself. She faced me then, chin tilted. I felt the dangerous pull of our pattern. Fight, then fall. For a beat her breath shortened, mine did too. Her pupils widened. Desire flickered between us. It would have been easy. A kiss, the old gravity, sex as bandage. I let my hand rise halfway, palm open, a bridge I used to build by instinct. No, I said, and it cost me. Not like this. What do you want from me? She said. A clean exit. She laughed once. There's nothing clean about any of this. Then less dirty. We moved through the house she curated into a life. Honeymoon photo, the kid's watercolor of the dog, the chandelier she argued for because it made dinners feel intentional. I carried the suitcase. She took a tote with her makeup and the citrus perfume that still haunted the halls. At the door she hesitated, eyes traveling the angles like a thief memorizing a room she could no longer enter. You'll talk to the kids? She asked. Tell them it isn't their fault. It isn't, I said. They'll hear it from me. And you? The question was small, unarmored. Are you going to be okay? I don't know, I said. But I'm going to be. On the porch, Mark lurked at the curb, arranging dignity he hadn't earned. Man. Leave, I said, not looking at him. He left. Claire set the tote down and turned back. Her eyes were bright and furious. We stood too close, the heat of her beautiful and poisonous. I could taste the memory of her skin, remember how her name sounds when the mouth saying it is almost out of breath. Need anything? I asked. Keys? Cash? She said. It landed between us like a confession and a trick. Then you should have chosen me, I said, opening the door wider. She went. The air after her felt suddenly winter. I locked the door, and the echo came back twice. The house exhaled in a new pitch. I stripped the bed, sheets in a heap, mattress flipped, windows open. Sun poured in. The room looked raw and undecorated. In the bathroom, a tissue bore the print of her lipstick, a kiss meant for no one. I threw it away, then threw it away again. The mirror gave me my face without offering advice. I let cold water have me until the thrum in my jaw eased. By dusk, the rooms had settled into a weather I recognized. I poured one drink and sat on the edge of the stripped bed. The dog planted his head in my lap with the uncomplicated loyalty I envied. I scratched behind his ears. My phone pulsed. I'm sorry, the first text said. Another, can we talk? I turned the phone off. The silence that followed wasn't empty, it was a choice. I stood in the closet among her ghosts. My fingers found the silk again. I let it drop. There would be paperwork and schedules and small, terrible explanations. There would be mornings when the bed was a map of absence and nights when the body forgot and reached. But the center had moved, I had taken it back. At the window the swing set shifted on a wind I couldn't feel. I drew the curtains. Coming home, it turns out, isn't returning. It's deciding who the house belongs to when the pretending ends. Tomorrow there will be toast, backpacks, coffee cooling on the counter, and a father who chooses his children and himself in the same breath. And if anyone asks which hand I favor, I'll tell them the truth, the one that knows when to hold and when to let go. The night after she left should have been quiet, but the silence had a pulse, steady, insistent, like something still alive under the floorboards. I didn't sleep. The sheets on the bed were new, washed twice, but they still carried the ghost of her perfume. Every time I turned, I found the space where she used to be and felt it recoil. Morning light came without warmth. The kids stayed at my sister's, which meant the house was mine again, though it didn't feel like ownership, more like possession. The kind you inherit after a death. At noon she came back. I heard her before I saw her. The car door, the hesitant click of her heels on the walkway. When I opened the door, she stood there, pale, trembling, eyes red like she hadn't slept either. I just need to talk, she said. Talk, I replied. She stepped inside, slowly, as if expecting the house itself to reject her. Her eyes darted around, the stripped bed, the empty counters, the missing photos. I had taken them down the night before, unable to bear her smile framed beside mine. You've been busy, she said softly. Cleaning up. For who? For myself. She flinched, then set her purse on the table. You threw him out like an animal. He was in my home, I said. On my bed. He didn't. Don't. The word came sharp. Don't rewrite this. She pressed her lips together, swallowed. You can't keep the kids from me. I leaned against the wall. Watch me. Her eyes hardened. You think you can threaten me? I'll take them. I'll go to court if I have to. I met her gaze. Leave the kids, I said quietly, or it'll get worse. The moment froze, her breathing shallow, her hand trembling over her purse strap. She saw something in me then that she hadn't before. Not rage, not cruelty, certainty. The kind that doesn't argue, doesn't beg. You wouldn't, she whispered. I already did. She stared, realization sinking in. I had called my lawyer that morning, filed for separation, frozen the accounts she could still access. The papers were ready, waiting. Her voice cracked. You can't just erase me. I'm not erasing you, I said. You did that yourself. The tears came fast, spilling before she could stop them. You don't understand. I was lonely. You were gone. And Mark? Don't say his name. Her mouth closed like a wound sealing. I loved you, she said finally, so quietly I almost missed it. I know, I said. That's what makes it worse. She sank into a chair. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The air between us was full of ghosts, every dinner, every late-night whisper, every touch that used to mean something. Then she asked, So this is it? That's all? This is the part, I said, where you pack what's left of your pride and go. She laughed bitterly, wiping her cheeks. You always did know how to make things sound neat. It's the only way I can survive them. When she finally stood, I could see the shift, the moment grief turned to anger. Her spine straightened. The trembling stopped. You think you're better than me, she said. No, I replied. Just done with you. She left without another word. The door clicked shut, soft, final. For a moment I thought she might come back, that the sound of tires on gravel would reverse, that she'd rush in crying, begging. But the world stayed still. I poured myself a drink. The burn steadied me. Hours passed before I realized how quiet it really was. No footsteps, no perfume, no voice humming through the house. Just the dog shifting in his sleep and the clock ticking like a heart that refused to stop. Later, her message arrived. You'll regret this. Then another, you'll miss me. I didn't reply. I just stared at the screen, wondering which was worse, that she believed it, or that part of me still did. That night, I walked through every room, turning off lights, touching the walls she once painted, the spaces she'd filled. I stopped in the doorway of the kids' room. 2 small beds, the smell of crayons and soap. I sat on the floor and stayed there until the first light touched the window. I realized something then. Endings don't come with fire or screaming. They come with quiet. With the knowledge that you could have forgiven and chose not to. The house felt different now, bigger, emptier, but mine. The echoes belonged to me again. I finished the whiskey, looked at the front door one last time, and whispered to the empty air, Goodbye, Claire. The word didn't echo. It landed flat, solid, final. And for the first time, I believed it. Days smear into one another the way rain blurs chalk on the driveway. I measure time by practical things. The crockpot's slow hiss, the hum of the dryer, the way the dog waits at the door every evening and then looks past me, confused, as if the rest of the family might be hiding behind my legs. I feed the kids, fold their shirts, label snack bags like I'm labeling my own thoughts. I tell myself you can rebuild a life from small tasks if you do them with care. The lawyer's office smells like paper and old coffee. I wear the suit from our wedding rehearsal dinner. The shoulders are tighter now. Claire sits across the mahogany table, sun on her hair, a person I still know by scent even now. Her lawyer uses words like custodial stability and material breach of trust. Mine slides photographs across, timestamps, a log of trips and gas receipts and quiet discoveries I wish I could unlearn. I don't look at Claire, but I hear how her breath shortens when a date matches a night she claimed she was with a client. Court is fluorescent and polite. The judge listens, the judge writes. Claire's attorney paints me as controlling, as cold. I don't argue. I speak like I tighten bolts, slow, exact. When they ask me about the day I came home, I answer without drama. When they ask about the children, I describe bedtime. The 2 songs, the water cup, the kiss on each eyelid to wash the dreams in. The room goes quiet. I don't look at Claire. Weeks blur. The decree arrives on a Wednesday like junk mail, envelope, seal, summary, final. She leaves with nothing a court can give, no money, no house, no custody, only a set of keys I've already recut and that brittle pride she sharpened on me for months. I feel mercy and relief and something darker I don't name. After, the house changes shape. I move the bed to the opposite wall, rotate the dining table so the sun falls on the kids' chairs. I paint the hallway a quiet gray. I find her earring behind the washing machine and drop it in the trash with a care that feels like prayer. I open windows and let the afternoon in. The house smells like soap, lemons, pencil shavings from homework. Sometimes the silence is a lake I can float on. There are others when it's a minefield. At night, fatigue holds me down, but memory pries my ribs apart. The mind is generous with replay. It offers the cafe and the bedroom, and the exact second I said, "Pack your things," as if showing me alternate camera angles might change the ending. I turn on the fan and stare at the blades until they are one gray ring. Friends come by like firefighters after a blaze, checking for embers. Beer on the porch, ribs on the grill, men telling me I did the right thing. One brings a woman from his office, kind, not my wife. She laughs. Her hand touches my arm when she thanks me for the napkins. I notice the curve of her mouth and then hate myself for noticing. Grief is rude like that. 1 part mourning, 1 part appetite. I start to run in the mornings. Before the kids wake, the neighborhood is all sprinklers and paper routes. My chest burns and the cold air scours something clean. I don't play music, I listen to my feet and try to believe forward is a direction I can trust. The kids adapt with a wisdom I don't deserve. Ben asks if the dog can sleep at the foot of his bed, so nobody feels alone. Sophie tapes a drawing to the fridge. For stick figures, a big yellow sun, a house with smoke curling from the chimney like a thought escaping. When they ask about their mother, I keep my voice warm. She loves you, I say. She's figuring out some things. It's true enough and kind enough, which is a hard balance to hold. Some evenings ache. Dishes done, homework checked, 2 small bodies tucked in and the house goes still. I pour 1 drink and sit on the back steps. The swing set creaks like an old boat. Fireflies pulse. I think about the magnetic pull of habit, the way my hand still reaches for the other pillow, the way I still cut limes for 2. I hold the glass and let the ache work. Pain is a craftsman. It shapes you if you stand still long enough. Claire texts once. Can we start over? I stare until the letters mean nothing. Then she writes, I'm sorry. Then, please. I type and erase 100 times. Finally I send only, be well. The period at the end feels like a small tombstone. Paperwork makes order out of ruin. I learn the calendar of custody and doctor visits and school half-days. I bake a lasagna that isn't awful. I mend a dress-up cape. I fix the leaky faucet and, when the drip stops, I cry in that stupid, grateful way you cry when one small thing finally listens. On a Thursday night I dream I'm back in our bed and we're laughing. Her hair is in my hands and everything is the color of early summer. I wake with the ache still hot in me, and for a moment I almost call her name into the dark, as if sound could reverse gravity. Instead I sit up, breathe and let the want pass through like weather. I am a man who can want and not take. That counts. By month's end, a rhythm emerges. It isn't bliss. It is survivable. I still fail. I still snap at the wrong moment, still forget the library book, still burn the toast. When I do, I apologize, to small faces who forgive fast, to my own reflection who forgives slower. I'm not interested in being a hero. I'm interested in being decent in a house that no longer lies. When I move the last of her boxes to the garage, I don't open them. I write the date on the top and a word that feels right. Fragile. I stack them neatly and turn off the light. The dark is kind for once. The dark says, this is the middle, not the end. And so I keep going, one breakfast, one bedtime, one long exhale at a time. Somewhere between the washer's final spin and the click of the porch light, I understand something simple. You don't get over a person, you grow around the place where they were. The scar is proof you closed. The first call comes 3 months later, a number I still know by heart even though I deleted it the week after the papers were signed. I almost don't answer. The kids are asleep, the house folded in quiet. The phone buzzes again, persistent, and something in me, habit, pity, presses, accept. Her voice is smaller than I remember. I just want to see them, she says. I tell her she can. I say it calmly, like I'm discussing a calendar, not a wound. When she arrives the next evening, the air feels different. She stands on the porch, framed by the soft light from the hallway lamp, her coat hanging loose, her eyes tired. The kids run to her before I can think, arms around her legs, and she kneels, crying into their hair. For a moment, I see the woman I used to wake beside, the one who whispered dreams into the crook of my shoulder before the cold set in. She looks up at me, tentative. Thank you, she says. I nod. I don't invite her in. But she doesn't ask. She just sits on the steps, talking to the kids, telling them she missed them, asking if the dog still sleeps at the end of the bed. Ben shows her a drawing. Sophie hands her a cookie she baked that morning. When they laugh, I almost forget. After a while, she stands, brushing her knees. They're okay, she says, a smile trembling at the corners of her mouth. You're doing well. They're kids, I reply. They love easily. Her eyes flinch at that. She looks away, toward the street, where her car waits with the engine still running. Are you happy now? She asks. The question hits harder than it should. I want to tell her yes, that I'm lighter, freer, that I sleep through the night without checking if she's beside me. But the truth hangs somewhere between. I'm not happy. I'm just unhurt. I'm fine, I say. She studies me, searching for something, anger, regret, hope. Whatever she's looking for, I've buried it too deep. You look different, she murmurs. I am. For a moment, the old gravity returns. The one that always pulled us together, no matter how badly we burned each other. Her hand twitches at her side, like she might reach for me. But then Sophie calls from the door, and the spell breaks. I should go, Claire says. I nod again. The kids hug her once more, and she promises to call. When she walks to her car, she doesn't look back. I stand in the doorway long after the taillights fade. The house feels heavier now, filled with the echo of her laughter, the warmth she left like a trace of perfume. Later that night, I pour a drink and sit on the back porch. The air is cool, the swing creaks softly. The dog rests his head on my foot. I think about her question, "Are you happy now?" and realize she wasn't really asking about me. She was asking about herself, about whether the pain she caused built something worth the wreckage. I finish the drink, set the glass down. The moon catches in the rim, a small, perfect reflection of light in the dark. The next morning, I wake early. The kids are still asleep, the house breathing quietly. I stand at the window, watching dawn bleed into the sky. There's peace here, but it's the kind that comes after the storm, when everything's broken enough to finally be still. I don't know if I'm happy. Maybe happiness isn't the goal anymore. Maybe it's enough to have silence that doesn't ache, to have space that doesn't accuse, to look at the day ahead and not dread the sound of her voice. But sometimes, when the house is too quiet, when I find one of her earrings in a drawer I forgot to empty, I still feel the ghost of her near. Not the woman who betrayed me, but the one who once laughed in the kitchen sunlight, who reached for my hand under the table. That version of her still lives somewhere inside me, like a shadow that refuses to fade, no matter how bright the morning gets. And maybe that's the real aftermath. Not forgetting, but learning to live beside what you can't erase. The porch boards are warm from a day that behaved itself. Crickets practice their scales. Down the block a screen door claps, a domestic heartbeat. I sit with a mug gone cold and let the house breathe behind me. At night there's less to pretend for. Chalk dust still ghosts the hallway from this afternoon's drawings. Ben sketched a figure with a mug and a hammer and said, "It's you, Dad, but cooler." Sophie added a son with eyelashes. They argued about whether the dog needed shoes. The ordinary sweetness of it rubbed a shine onto everything, the way a thumb makes a coin brighter. I keep trying to learn that this is enough. The swing set clicks as the earth shifts. I know every small sound our yard makes. Once, I would have listened for the rhythm of her steps, for the faucet, for the particular sigh she gave when she let the day slip off her shoulders. Desire used to arrive just from hearing that sigh, sex beginning as a temperature, a rumor under the skin. Now the porch asks gentler questions. What do you want that isn't a person? What can you keep without gripping so hard you break? I'm not good at endings, so here is a list disguised as a confession. I still wake some nights believing I can repair anything. I still keep tools where a man can reach them in the dark. I still fold laundry like a prayer. I still check the locks twice. I still look up when a car that sounds like hers ghosts by the corner. I still know how her mouth tasted at midnight the summer the power went out and the whole block felt like an enormous, consenting secret. I don't let those memories drag me under. The kids are learning the latitude of our small new country. We have rituals, pizza Fridays, library Thursdays, bad dancing while spaghetti water boils. I keep a jar for questions we can't answer yet. Tonight Ben wrote, "Why are some people mean to people they love?" I folded the slip and promised myself we will keep living our way toward the answer. When quiet stretches, I talk to the porch like an old friend. I tell it the court found in my favor, that I don't feel like a winner. I tell it her perfume still appears some mornings, faint as a rumor. I tell it I'm not ready, then admit I might be, then decide not to decide tonight. The dog wanders out and leans against my shin like he's returning me to myself. I scratch the warm spot behind his ear and think about the word ordinary. I used to wear it like a sentence. Now it feels like a shelter I built with my hands. There is nothing ordinary about making breakfast for small mouths and surviving the day without lying to yourself. Screen door hinges rasp. Small feet, careful on wood. Ben appears in pajama shorts, hair wild with sleep, chalk on his knee. He climbs into my lap without asking, as if gravity invented the idea for him. We watch the street together, the long quiet plane of it. "Dad," he says, milk-soft, "are you right-handed or left-handed?" The question hangs there, bright and harmless as a porch light. My heart rocks once. I could laugh, I could cry. I do neither. I kiss the crown of his head, that warm bread smell children carry like proof the world still intends good things. "Doesn't matter, kid," I tell him. "Just don't be like everyone else." It isn't a performance, it is the truest sentence I know. He nods with the solemnity of a king knighting a chair. He believes me because I sound like I believe me, and because I have shown him what it looks like to stay when staying is hard, to leave when leaving is necessary. He leans back against me, heavy and perfect. I talk to him the way my father talked to me after storms. Low and steady, words meant to plow a safe furrow through the dark. I tell him people are oceans and you don't always know their riptides until your feet slide out. I tell him he is allowed to want, and to stop wanting, and to say both aloud. I tell him ordinary is not a prison if you fill it with honest work and laughter. And music, he adds, sleepy. And music, I agree. I remember the last time I watched Claire sleep, the high tide of her breathing, the clean stripe of her neck. I remember the first time she said she loved me, how the word blew the dust off my heart. I also remember how contempt can rot a sentence from the inside. Both truths live here now. I feed one and starve the other. Ben's head grows heavier. His breath evens into a neat metronome. I lift him. He loops his arms around my neck, trusting me to be the bridge between porch and bed. In his room the moon lies in a square across the floor like a rug no one bought. I tuck him in and stand a minute to let the quiet proof itself around us. Back outside, the mug is still cold. The night has inched forward a few feet. I take the last swallow, grimace, smile anyway. The swing whispers its one word, start, start, and I believe it. The life I'm making is particular. 2 kids, a dog, a small white house that no longer lies to me, a man who sometimes wants and does not take, who sometimes hurts and does not bleed on anyone else. The porch light hums. Moths insist on their doomed choreography. I let the door fall shut with the gentleness of a decision that doesn't need applause. Tomorrow will come with cereal and socks and a school form I will almost forget to sign. Somewhere beyond that might be a new hand to hold, or just my own, steady on the wheel. Either is good. Either is mine. I turn the switch and let the dark have the yard. It accepts, vast and ordinary and kind. Inside, the house exhale sounds like agreement. I stand a moment longer and listen. Nothing aches. Or it does, but the ache has learned my name and we are on speaking terms. That will have to do. That, and the boy who asked the right question and accepted the better answer. Not right or left, not average or special, but awake. I go to bed with that word in my mouth like a seed I mean to plant.